Hi there, everyone. Russ Hamilton here. Anyway, I've got another great video for you. This one all on Sallyport safety. So, Sallyport is one of those places where we start to feel complacent because, hey, we're at home. And yet it's one of the places where some of the most deadly, dangerous things occur, usually due to people trying to escape and so forth. So anyway, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you some big tips that are kind of general, but if you followed them all, you should never have a problem with Sallyport safety. Anyway, let's get right to it. I'm going to go right to this first one. I'm going to narrate right through it, and then I'll talk about it a little bit more when we reach the other side. All right, so if you know anything about body language, you can see who the guy up to no good is by the way he's pacing, fidgeting, looking around, and he makes his move to get out of the view of the officer. This is where an informal count should have been done to make sure that everybody makes it back inside. Now this guy just feels like, well, he's had a good run of luck up to this point. So he'll come back around this other side of the truck. And supposedly there's some point at which he manages to actually just take some keys, which are hanging off a wall. I'm not sure if that's where he goes back to the left there, or if it's when he goes back down to where the other roll-up door is. But you'll see him pacing back and forth. He's probably just amazed that no one has spotted him on camera yet. So when he steps down off of there and you see him go over to the post, it looks like he takes something off of there. It looks like he grabbed something. That could be the key. I'm not 100% sure at this point. Now you'll see he comes back. He's going to try the passenger side door on the vehicle, and that's going to be no joy for him. He still can't believe he's made it this far. It's back around to the other side. And he is off. See it from this angle. No crash barricades in this particular facility, which is all the more reason to be more on guard about this kind of thing. And there you have it. And it's only at this point here that they realize that they have a big problem. So anyway, that's our first little clip that we're going to do. We're only going to do the second one before I jump on to all of the things, the bullet points that I wanted to go over with that involve actually making our Sallyports safer. But before I get to that, before we get to this next clip, I just want to say that, this is a hard clip to watch. This is something that you should take your time on. This is something that, you know what, if you don't feel you should watch it, you probably shouldn't. But this involves the death of an officer. And anytime, a law enforcement officer is lost in the line of duty like this, it's a somber, sobering thing. But I feel that we can use this particular critical incident to actually, improve safety and security everywhere. In this one, you'll see that at the point at which we cut away for the other camera angle, that is the point at which Deputy Mark Burbridge was killed. I elected not to show that. I just felt it would be, not in the best vein for people to have to watch that. So that has been taken out. So if you're more comfortable watching it that way, I think that you will still learn something from this video. Anyway, here we go. So as you can see, they've pulled in to disembark their prisoners into the jail facility, and they are securing their weapons in the front of the van. They will proceed around back to get the two prisoners out. They get the female out first, and you're going to see they kind of trade positions there. The female begins following the other officer toward the front. And that's when the other inmate has got out of his restraints and he starts stabbing and attacking this officer. There's a moment of confusion. The officer being stabbed runs around the front of the van. And this is the point, unfortunately, at which Deputy Mark Burbridge was killed. This is the point at which I elected to stop this part of the video. We're going to see the video again, but from the other side. So as that picks up, you'll get a better idea of just exactly what happened. Here they are coming in. You'll see the officer that eventually starts to take the female prisoner out of the van. At this point, Deputy Burbridge goes to the rear of the van and opens the doors. And then they trade positions. The female gets out. He starts to walk her toward the entrance. And that's when Deputy Burbridge is attacked and stabbed. This is the point at which Deputy Burbridge tries to run around the front and stop him from getting in. The other officer comes to this side. Deputy Burbridge is killed. The other officer is shot and wounded right at about this point. He's kicked back out of the van. You'll see that the keys are being stripped off of his belt. This is where the inmate is going to get back in back in the van. And then he's going to crash back out through the Sally Port roll-up door. These are the two weapons that were recovered that he used to stab Deputy Burbridge. All right, guys. So you saw all of the things that happened in those two clips. Let's get right into some things, 6 things specifically that are going to help you keep things a lot more safe. Number 1, can't emphasize this enough. That's why it's number 1. Inmates must be thoroughly searched, hair and braided, and a metal detector and or body scanner used every time they exit or enter the Sally Port. You saw what happened in the second video there. Supposedly the handcuff key that he used to get loose came from his hair being braided. Obviously, they could have detected that. Perhaps if they used a metal detector, no one knows for sure what the key was made out of because it was never recovered. Let's go on to number 2. No inmates allowed in the Sally Port unrestrained and unsupervised. Any inmate in the Sally Port needs to have shackles on, some kind of restraints, and has to be under direct and immediate supervision. No ifs, ands, or buts. You shouldn't be taking cleaning crews out there and milling around out there. I don't care what their custody level is. They shouldn't be out there because they could set things up for future things to happen, even if they're not an immediate threat. Number 3, no weapons or vehicle keys unsecured at any time that inmates are not secured inside the vehicle. Once again, we don't want to have the keys on our belts. We can be overpowered and they can, use that as a motivation to actually overpower us. We don't want to just, leave weapons in the vehicle. We saw what happened there. Preferably, they should be in a lockbox in the Sally Port that's also inside some kind of man port access to stop any access from even possibly happening. All right. Number 4, check all restraints before disembarking inmates from any vehicle. Yeah, you make them show their hands. You make them show their feet, if they've got those leg irons on. You make absolutely sure that everything looks intact. Then once we pull them out, we chuck it all over again. You didn't see any of that going on in these particular cases. All right. Check all manifests before leaving is number 5, and search all undercarriages, compartments, trunks, and hood areas. Yeah, if you are doing those impromptu counts and making sure that, everyone matches up on a list, there's no chance that you're going to screw up and leave someone behind. We saw that happen in the first one. It's happened many other times. Last but not least, number 6, follow proper escort procedures at all times. High-risk inmates should have a minimum 2-to-1 ratio. I don't care who you are, those lifers or those facing life at some kind of trial thing, they have the motivation to try and do something deadly. This is Russ Hamilton signing off.
Guys, stay safe.